criminal justice, healing, education. Time to awaken the community. Good morning, afternoon, evening, however, or whenever you are listening slash watching. You guys should know me by now, but if you guys don't, my name is Holly Sisa, and I am the host of this lovely program we call Morning Mimosas, where we value human life, justice, healing, and education for the Black and minority communities. Guys, today we are going to be covering a case that needs so much attention, and I am so grateful to have the daughter of Miss Diana Hart of Darby, Pennsylvania, on this episode so we can talk about Miss Diana's homicide that unfortunately took place on October 9th, 2016 in Darby, Pennsylvania. Guys, I am always telling you guys can be anonymous when it comes to these cases. It's time that we get the families justice. It's just time. It's been 9 years since this happened. But guys, let's bring on the daughter of Miss Diana Hart, Miss Jill. I am so happy to have her on the show today so she can come and talk about her mother. Please give her a morning mimosas welcome. Thank you so much for being on the show today. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, guys, as I stated earlier, we are going to be talking about the unsolved murder of Miss Diana Hart. And, guys, the only goal here is for you guys to please, if you guys know something, please call the number that I have provided there. You guys can be anonymous. Please help Jill and her family get justice for their mother. Miss Jill, once again, thank you for being on the show today. I just it's been a long time since this happened, and even though time has gone past, doesn't change the circumstance. Miss
hmm
Jill, please talk about your mom and just talk about everything that she was. And
She she was really sweet, very caring. She had a very good sense of humor, and we spent a lot of time together looking at movies and going out to eat. We used to go to the Ethiopian restaurant in West Philly together after seeing a movie, and we were very close. We had a really good bond.
thank you for that.
hmm
Um, so I know this is going to be a little bit hard, but just please take your time. What happened on October 9th, 2016?
Like starting from like what point? Like, well,
From everything from everything. I know that you had gotten a phone call, right,
yeah.
about your sister and everything.
hmm Yeah, I was at work. I was working at the Gap at the time, and my partner at the time had called me, and I had already knew something was up. I had just got a really weird feeling because we had talked on my lunch break, and I literally just clocked in. I only been clocked in for like probably 3 or 4 minutes. I just walked back up to the register. He was calling me, and that was like very unusual. And for some reason, like it just like made my stomach hurt because I just felt like something was wrong. And so when I answered, I'm just like, "Hello," and he just was like, "The police are here. They're looking for you. And they just want to talk to you." And I'm like, I just was like, "What's going on?" But he just was like, "Here, just talk to them." And they just was like, "We got your sister in a car. She pointed out your house," which was like really crazy because like I said, she has a traumatic brain injury, and she doesn't remember a lot of things. And I had just been living here for not that long. She had only been to my place once, and only from the outside because she has really bad balance. and I had lived in one of those like apartment, but like it was like a big house that was turned into an apartment. So it was like a lot of flights of steps, and she had really bad balance. So my mom just didn't really want to have her go up all those steps. So when I would see her, it would pretty much just be if we went out or at my mom's house. She just didn't want to have her go up all those steps because it would be really dangerous. Because she fell down like one flight of steps at our house so much, so it was like 4 or 5 flights of steps. It just was dangerous. So she only had been outside the house once. So for her to be able to point that house out after only seeing it one time was amazing. And so they said that she was looking for my mom. She couldn't find her. And I just immediately just broke down because I just knew that it was only one reason that my mom was not there, and that must have been that she was dead, because she would never leave her by herself. Our whole time growing up, like my mom never was nowhere to be found. Like when I lived there, like she would, if she needed to run to the store or something, she'll wake me up. It was never a time where I just didn't know where she was. She wouldn't leave her in the house. And at this point, it was like probably maybe 1 o'clock in the afternoon, roughly. I don't really remember exactly, but it was definitely in the afternoon. So it was too late in the day. That was another like super red flag, because it was not like maybe if it was like 8 o'clock at night, maybe she ran to the store. But just being 12 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon and she's been wandering the streets for hours looking for her, it just was like, yeah, no, something's completely wrong. And so I cried. I was just so upset, and I told them that I was going to meet them at my mom's house as soon as possible, but I knew that it was going to be horrible news. Um, so I was just in the bathroom trying to get myself together, and I realized that I was too far. Like I wasn't going to be able to catch the bus. Feeling the way I felt, like it was going to take too long. I was have to wait for it, and it would took over an hour to get there, and I needed to get there now. So I had actually called back and asked the police officer if he could just send somebody to come get me, if that was possible, because I couldn't take it. Like I needed to get there ASAP. So they actually did send an officer to come pick me up, and so that was really nice on their part. Um, Once I got there, yeah, and so that was really nice on their part. Yeah. Once I
Okay. Yeah, I apologize for that. I was clicking on something. Go ahead,
Okay.
though.
Yeah, so once I got there, it was just really weird because the house didn't look like disheveled. Like nothing looked weird or out of the norm. Like it just was a normal day in her house, except there was a couple neighbors in there, and that bothered me because they weren't the friendliest. I can't think of a not like I couldn't think of a nice neighbor that was in there. They all was pretty much in there just to be nosy, not that they cared
Mhm.
about her. So that was just really annoying. But I was like looking back at it, I always was wishing like I would have like kicked them out. But my mind was so focused on what was going on. Like I didn't even like have the mental capacity to even say anything to them. Like I just was more so like, what is going on? Like, I don't even remember if I told them to leave or what. I just remember being really upset seeing them, and just immediately like, what's going on. It was like as soon as I got in there, it wasn't too much time later that I saw an officer like barge out the basement and like run out the back door, but he was pointing back behind him saying in the basement, in the basement. So I started to go over to the basement door to see what was going on, and they would not let me down there. And from there immediately they said, okay, everybody's got to get out. We got to go to the police station now. Like basically this is now a crime scene. And so we got to the police station, and they was just questioning everybody, asking me like, who did my mom know and who does she hang around? And but they still didn't tell me she was dead, but I knew she was, because like what else could be in the basement that doubt now it's a crime scene. She's missing. There are to be all these questions about her. So, you know, that happened. And then eventually I asked one of the detectives, like, is she dead? And he just was like, yeah. Like it was like you could tell it was like hard, like he didn't know how to tell me. And I just asked, and he just was like, like just with a really disappointed look, like just he just nodded his head and just was like, yeah. So that's what happened that day.
I I am so sorry that you had to go through any of that. That is absolutely horrible. And I'm sorry that you and the family are still having to deal with this today.
Yeah.
Um, ah, goodness. So I know time has gone by. Is there anything is there anything that you are able to tell the public that could help in the case?
Um, like as far as like,
Like if it's like who may like what was your mom doing earlier in the day? Was she at work? Um, like what was her day?
well, it had took place like that night, like
Mhm.
prior.
Okay.
And she had some company. She had a few friends over. They were having a good time, having drinks or, just chilling. And so it happened in the night. Whoever she had at the house, I don't know if she let them in, but again, the house didn't look like somebody had kicked the door in or picked the lock or anything. Like it seems like this was somebody she comfortably let in the house.
Thank you for that detail.
Hmm.
If you guys are joining us, we are here with Jill. She is the daughter of Miss Diana Hart. Miss Diana Hart, unfortunately, was murdered on October 9th, 2016, in Darby, Pennsylvania. And we are here speaking with her lovely daughter so we can get to know a little bit more about Miss Hart so we can get justice for her today and just making sure that this doesn't happen again. So, Miss Jill, when it comes to the case, how has your family been doing since this happened?
Um, I mean, we just hanging in there. My brother is in Texas now. Um, it hits him really hard. Um, and especially because this happened a few days before his birthday. His birthday is October 12th.
Hmm, my goodness.
So, yeah, and so, you know, that was like really hard, like to be planning her funeral like around his birthday. I don't remember if it was on his birthday or like just around his birthday when we was planning the funeral, but it was pretty close together. We had to go identify her. We couldn't see her like in person to identify her. We had to look at a picture, and the picture was horrible. You could tell that she had been beaten. And and yeah, so and then my sister, she has a brain injury as I mentioned, and she she has her moments where she's like really upset, but most of the time lately she's been really happy, like talking about the good things about my mom. Like I just recently called and I had told her I was going to make some potato salad, and she was asked if I was going to make it like mommy because she was the best cook. And whenever I asked her, how are her staff treating her, they get making her good food, and she'll be like, yeah, but nothing like mommy. And she's always laughing and joking about that. And just just she just brings her up every chance she gets, but in a positive way. Like these days, it's been very positive, so that's really good for her and her mental health because she could get really aggravated and it's not good. So lately she's been in a good space. And me, I recently decided to make that video, basically shine a light on my mom's death because I haven't talked about it and I try not to think about it because it hurts. But then I found myself forgetting, and that wasn't good. And that's why I made the video, because I try not to think about it, because when I do, I like overwhelm myself. Like I start to have like, mental images of what happened and how it happened, why it happened. And it makes me so upset and so sick because I don't want to think about her like that. But how else, like, how can I not think about that if I'm thinking about her murder? So I try to just think about the good, but then again, her murder goes forgotten because I try to
Mhm.
block it out. So it's just really tough because it's like when I'm trying to get justice and if I get my mind fixated on that, it hurts. So then when I try to not think about the murder, and then that's when again the murder gets forgotten about. You get what I mean?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much how it goes. So it's just like I start feeling bad, like, damn, am I a bad daughter? Like, what would she do if this was me? Because I keep on pushing it away because what she went through that night is just like, again, I just start imagining it. Even though, like, it's just, it sound, I guess, I don't know if it sounds weird to some people. Like, why would you want to imagine it? But it's like, I can't help that. Like, I can't help thoughts that pop into my head. And it hurts so bad. Like, just thinking about that, like, it's just really, really messed up because she was so sweet. Like, she was so nice, and I can't imagine what she could possibly do to make somebody do something so horrible to her. Like, that's just evil. And I just think about how scared she was. Like, what was her last words? And it's just scary that she had to go through that. And we watched a lot of ID together. Like, we watched a lot of crime shows together. So it was like so messed up that like she lived that, like stuff that we talked about that was so scary and so imaginable, like we would like cringe watching it, like, oh my god, and she actually had to go through that. Like, this is really hurtful.
And I am, once again, I am so sorry that Miss Diana had to go through any of that. She did not deserve that, and you guys didn't deserve that either.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Just, I really, this is why I truly do not like people sometimes. Like, I love human beings, but this is why I also dislike them. You can be like the best person, and then somebody still does something bad to you like that. I absolutely
Yeah.
hate that. But
Mhm.
Miss Jill, I'm not going to take up too much more of your time. I'm just going to ask you one more question. What do you have to say to the person and or persons who took your mother's life? What do you have to say to them today?
um I really don't know, honestly, because I don't know. Like, it would probably be like too, like I don't know how to say this. Like, it would too much for to like say on here. Like, just really, like, you know what I mean?
I understand.
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want, or if you don't want to speak on it at all, that's perfectly fine too.
Yeah. Just why, and a bunch of other stuff that I'm not even. I guess if I ever had the opportunity, like, I guess it'll just come out naturally. But I actually never even thought of that. Like, what I would say. I guess my mind's just been so fixated on just why. Why would somebody do that to her? Like, why did you have to do that to her? Why didn't you stop? Like, they stabbed her so many times. Like, why couldn't they just stop? Why did they keep going? Why did they why did they want to kill her so bad that they why did they have to torture her? Like that, I don't know. I really never thought about that.
I completely understand. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna I'm not gonna drag that question out any further, but I
You're
am
fine.
gonna give a little bit more details about the case. So based on the research that I did, it took place at the 500 block of Spruce Street. Is that
Hmm.
correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And it took place on the night of October 9th, 2016. I just want to make sure for
I
those
guess
of you who are listening.
the morning, right? Because it would have been like, I guess, like the seventh, no, the eighth, but it was like probably at like past 12 a.m., which technically made it the ninth. You know what I mean?
Oh, so the early morning hours.
Yeah. Yep. You know how confusing that can be sometimes. Yeah. Yep. So it wasn't that night. It was that early morning.
The early morning hours of October 9th. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, so, Miss Diana, just for those of you who are listening to the case details, Miss Diana unfortunately was. Ooh, I really hate to say this, but she was stabbed and beaten to death, and she was found in the basement of her home. Um, so, for those of you that are in the Darby, Pennsylvania area, or if you have since moved out of that area, if you know anything, please, please, please call the Darby Police at the number that we have provided down there. You guys can be anonymous. I'm 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 always asking you guys if you guys know something. It's very selfish of you guys to have this information, knowing that families are suffering, and you guys just have this information all to yourself, knowing that you guys can help a family get justice so they can begin a true healing process. It's disgusting. So please, if you know something about what happened to Miss Diana on October 9th, on the early morning hours, at the 500 block of Spruce Street in Darby, Pennsylvania, please call the Darby Police Department. You can be anonymous. Jill and her kids deserve justice. Miss Jill, thank you so much for coming on my show today. And I
Thank you for
hope
having
and
me.
absolutely, I hope and pray that today's episode reaches somebody so Miss Diana Hart can get the justice that she truly deserves. So that way her kids can have the true healing that they deserve as well. Guys,
Mhm.
this is Morning Mimosas, where we value human life, justice, healing, and education for the Black and minority communities. Until next time, see you guys later.